Drive axle spacing has been extended to 60 inches, and the kit springs look pretty good overall, although there are two areas where the detail is a little bit on the shallow side, largely as a result of limitations of the injection molding process. These two areas are the spring pack clamps here, and bolts which attach the spring to the walking beam assembly here. Here's a look at a real Hendrickson suspension, showing how much more prominent these parts are on the real truck. These are easy to add, and we'll start with the spring pack clamps. Tape a small piece of 40 thou thick styrene strip to the top of the spring pack to act as a height gauge, and attach short pieces of 10 thou by 40 thou styrene strip, with the excess projecting out of the bottom. Another piece of 10 thou by 40 thou styrene strip is attached to the underside of the spring, and again, let the excess project out over the side. Once everything is cured thoroughly, trim off the excess length, and attach the final piece of 10 thou by 40 thou styrene strip on the other side of the spring, again, leaving excess length projecting out the bottom. When working with any of the small fiddly bits of this nature, it's much easier to leave things extra long and trim to final length afterwards. With the bent flat bar portion now represented, all that's left to add is the fastener detail. This is made with two short pieces of 20 thou styrene rod, glued in place between the upright styrene strips, and the addition of bolt head castings on either side. Remove the molded on bolt detail, keeping it flush to the springs. It isn't necessary to scribe the spring detail back in, because this area will be hidden when the new bolts are added. Next, glue the top plate in place, and take a measurement to cut replacement bolts. A vernier caliper is an ideal tool for this application, because the depth gauge end will then serve as a cutting guide. Bolts are cut from 30 thou styrene rod. Only two are required because only the bolts on the outside of the spring are visible. No bolt heads are represented on the kit suspension part, but these are easily added with bolt head castings, cut off flush from the molding tree so they can be glued to the surface. A single edge razor blade is ideal for this kind of trimming. These added details greatly improve the appearance of the kit part, and one final detail which is easy to add is fasteners on the bottom side of the suspension where the cross shaft bolts in place. These are added using hex nut and bolt castings, which are also installed by cutting them off flush with the molding tree and gluing in place on the surface. For comparison, here is our completed suspension component shown next to an unmodified kit part. These detail upgrades are easy to add and do a lot to enhance the appearance of the finished parts, especially on a tractor where these components are quite visible.